Hey, everybody. Welcome into the Parts Counter Gurus. We're going to take a look at another Chevrolet electric vehicle that is coming on strong with a lot of chatter about this thing. So Keith and I are going to go take a look at it with you today. Let's go.
Just dropped Chevrolet Silverado EV, which people are saying, they're complaining about how much it looks like the Avalanche. Jay, interesting timing here. Released this during CES week, the Consumer Electronics Show. Interesting, right?
Well, it's funny you say that because I think that the technology world has really played a heavy role in the development of a lot of these newer vehicles, obviously electric vehicles, all electric vehicles. So it makes sense that some of this stuff is being brought to us at CES, which you and I, by the way, are going to try to attend that next year. So let's get into some of this stuff.
All right.
Let's take a look at this thing. What does it look like?
Absolutely. So, and by the way, guys, make sure you're subscribed if you're not already. And to those of you that are, thank you so much. That's a huge help to us. Let's look at the B-roll, Jay. Is that good? Just let's see what they're showing us just without without anybody without anybody telling us what to think. How's that?
Exactly.
Right. So here we go.
Take a look at this thing. Yeah.
I'm gonna blow that up so you can see it, and it should render a little better here in a second.
All right, so as expected, you've got the unibrow across the front, which you can thank Tesla for doing that. Now, check this out, though. Here's the one thing that I noticed that Chevy has done here. Look at the bow tie.
Oh, the little light-up bow tie logo, both on the indicator, on the marker on the side, and right under the unibrow.
Yeah, so they mean business with letting you know who they are out there, and that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So what we're looking at is the RST, which is the top of the line. I just kind of get that resemblance of the old Avalanche, man. It just But look at that when it starts. Does that kind of feel like kit?
Oh, turn it to red, man. There's got to be a mod kit out there,
right?
Yeah.
So this baby here, what we understand, the price on this thing is about $107,000 out of the chute.
Now, that's the first edition and all that, right? Yeah. So you can get them for less, just not this one.
Do you see that? Okay, so that's a feature that the F-150 does not have, which is the mid-cab tailgate, mid-gate, if you will.
GM's very proud of that.
Yeah, I would be too. I mean, if I owned it, I'd be very happy about it. Wow, they got a lot of detail on the interior as well.
Yeah, sorry, I skipped
Creature
around.
comforts. That's okay. I like that.
So the tailgate, right? So
it's a multi-function, by the way.
I'm trying to see. I want to see what you were talking about there. I think I went back too far. All right, but there. Okay, yeah. So they've got the Avalanche thing, the fold-in thing from the back. I think the Avalanche also did that. Now, so from a design perspective, you talked about this,
right?
With side shot on the F-150. Ford did theirs in a way that they're Lightning. They said, we want you to know it's an F-150. They didn't say that, but you look at the truck, you know it's an F-150. It was clearly a design choice.
Absolutely it was.
This does not look like... yes, it looks like a Chevy. Yes, it looks like a Chevy truck, but it doesn't look like... There's a significant difference in the traditional Silverado gasoline engine in this.
Right. I think that was what they were trying to do. I guess I understand why. I mean, let's face it, the Silverado as it is, the gasoline version as it is ranked number 3. I mean, obviously, the Ford F-150 has been ranked number 1 for many years. I think Ram has stolen the number 2 position there. So maybe Chevrolet's thinking, well, if we're going to do this, we're going to go all electric on everything. Maybe we need to kind of let's present our own identity here. Let's have a difference of what it was. We're moving forward. And, they did that with their logo. I mean, even that was kind of a bold move for them. I mean, it wasn't that big of a deal. I mean, they went from uppercase to lowercase and, all that kind of stuff. I wasn't that impressed, but I see what they're trying to do here. They're basically poking their chest out going, okay, we're different now. Okay, this is what we're going to be.
Well, they've said that. They've said we have to be going forward. Now, okay, so we're looking at a picture. Everybody's got to show off the front now. All these EVs, cars, trucks, all the manufacturers, they all draw attention to that.
But
yeah,
did you know what GM calls this?
Not the frunk?
Nope.
What are they calling it?
The e-trunk.
Okay, e-trunk.
So I mean, why? Right? It's terminology. A trunk has been a trunk for, or a boot, depending on what part of the world you live in. So a hood or a bonnet, again, depending on what part of the world you live in, has always been a hood or a trunk. So when the first pickup truck came out, they call it a frunk, or any electric vehicle, they call it a frunk, right?
Yeah.
So why call it an e-trunk? What does that do?
It just signifies that it's different, right? Again, right?
We know it's different. We definitely know that it's different, no doubt about it. So
but I hope, Jay, that they're doing what some of the other manufacturers like Ford's doing in theirs, where there's a drain plug in the bottom. It looks like it's rubberized plastic or some sort of polycarbonate here, because these things you can dump ice in them and use them as a cooler, like in the Mach-E, right? Didn't Cameron point that out to us? So I've decided, Jay, you know what you call it, like Ford calls theirs a frunk. If you're gonna fill it with beer and put ice in it, it's a Frunky Brewster. All right,
nice.
Let's look at some more here. All right.
Okay, keep rolling. Now, I will say this: I love that color.
That's it. Yeah, it's a good looking.
It's a good looking.
Yeah.
Now, something that I noticed on the rear of this thing, Ford, their truck, they went with like a regular bumper.
Mm-hmm.
This is kind of integrated into the fascia, more of a molded body style. So it's not like it's not like a regular Ford truck. If you look at the Ford F-150 Lightning, it's got like just a regular bumper back there. It's not like molded into. It's not part of the fascia or anything.
I gotcha.
So it looks more like a pickup truck. This thing looks like a futuristic Avalanche. That's what it looks like to me. It doesn't have anything. There's nothing that really jumps out at this that makes it super special to me. Now, except for when you're looking at the interior of this thing, they go all out here on the size of the screen and what you are looking at in the cab here, which is pretty cool. And we saw the same thing, Keith, if you remember, when we were at SEMA show in Las Vegas, when we were at the Hummer experience, the Hummer EV experience, the size of those screens in those cabs was pretty hefty, pretty amazing. So they're kind of following some of the same standard with the Silverado EV as they did with the Hummer, which is providing that type of an environment in the cab. But you're also getting some of those extra features, from my understanding, is it's got the four-wheel steer. So
yeah, we're gonna get into we definitely need to get into that in a minute. So and I've noticed that the front seat, the pitch, the angle of the window, it's more car-like. It's more angled up there.
Yeah, that seems to be a trend on some of these more futuristic. Now that's the work truck. That's the WT series. That's the base model, which is obviously intended for fleets. Very similar to the standard, just the Ford F-150 Pro.
Here we go. Okay. Yeah. It's got got the off-road tires on it. Yeah.
But this still looks like the Pro. Wasn't there another level that they were coming out with? I think there was a, let's see here. Yes, gee whiz, man. You've got the work truck, Let's go down the levels real quick if you
Sure.
want to run some B levels there. So B-roll there. So the work truck, and these are estimations, around 40,000. The LT, which is, okay, first of all, the first two models to come out, and it won't be until 2024 is what we're understanding.
That's also the model year as they're tagging it right now.
Correct. It's the work truck, which is the WT series, which everybody's familiar with. They've gone with that for years. And then the RST, which is the first edition. It's the top of the line. That thing they're estimating to be around 107,000. Now, what we're understanding, in between there, you're going to have certain levels of trim, LT, LTZ, Trail Boss, and the High Country. The Trail Boss is 85 estimated, 85,000. So the LT, which is the next step up from the WT, is around 50 grand. The LTZ, 75,000, and the High Country, 90,000. And of course, cream of the crop, like I'd already mentioned, the RST first edition will be around 107. And we're assuming that that's going to have all the bells and whistles on it for that price. I mean, my goodness, that's pretty hefty. Because when I priced out the Ford Platinum Lightning F-150, came at, and this was kind of like loaded to my liking. There might have been maybe $1,000 worth of stuff that I left off, but I got up to right around 97,000, and that's maxed out. That is the Platinum that comes with the 300-mile range. Where Chevrolet is boasting for each model to have 400. They don't give you an option in range, but they're not really telling you at what load that is. I mean, I don't know, man. That's
got to be
marketing.
no load. Yeah, well, they're all doing it, right? Like we talked about when before we started recording. Like if I attach a GoPro to my remote control battery powered truck, or strap an extra light rig to my drone, the flight time decreases, the runtime on the RC truck decreases. I mean, anything. Even internal combustion, like you tow something or you put a payload in the back, your gas mileage is going to decrease. Like it's
right.
So here, but here, a few specifics for you guys, if I could talk. Other than that 400-mile range, which, like Jay said, you're not going to get that on everything.
No.
I love this, man. This is going to be a double-edged sword because we're going to get a lot of stupid people doing stupid things. But
that
664 happens. Horsepower, 780 foot-pounds of torque, and they're calling their max power mode wide open watts mode, and that's on the RST. 0 to 60, and they're estimating 4.5. Standard DC fast charging. Okay. They do have 10.2 kilowatts of onboard power, so that's just like Ford's doing. Yeah.
I would like to point out something on the power. Did you notice where the charging port is?
It's on the back. Did I see that correctly?
Yes, you did. Which is unlike what Ford has done. It's on the front, and Tesla on the front. And I wonder why they went this direction when it seems like everybody else in the industry is aiming towards the front. Again,
yeah, well, and if Shell, if other traditional gas stations follow suit and they start putting EV charging, it's going to depend, man. I mean, you back the truck in to charge it, you pull it in to charge it. Who knows?
Well, the cool thing too, and you were talking about the ranges and everything. You've got, again, some capacity here that I thought was really good, and that is, what do you use a truck for, right? And that is to fit what you need in it as maximum amount as you can. And the fact that with the multi-flex midgate, which is that pass-through feature from the bed of the truck into the back end where the second row of seats are. It's 10 feet in length, man. You can fit items up to 10 feet in length in there.
We're not talking one dead body. We're talking like 4 dead bodies.
Exactly, man.
Wow.
Exactly. But that's a nice feature.
10,000 pounds of payload or dead bodies, as a matter of fact.
Right. Right, man.
All right, so on the RST, I love this, man. Like, if you're going to spend $100,000 on a truck, like, here you go. Four-wheel steering. Okay. Automatic adaptive air suspension. I like it.
They needed that.
The midgate you just mentioned. Of course, their multi-flex tailgate, which they're putting on all their trucks as an option now, not just their electric ones.
Right.
17-inch LCD, like you also pointed out, they're just going all in on that. And then trailering capable Super Cruise. Sorry, Ford, can't use the word cruise. The industry's first true hands-free driver assistance technology. So interesting to me that they're going to go out on a limb there and make that available with trailering while you're towing something.
Right.
That's the way I understand that.
Right.
So you got yourself nobody's buying RVs now, right, Jay?
Nobody's buying RVs, guy.
Take your hands off the wheel for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
You got it.
Yeah, that's it. Boy, they're really touting their Ultium powered propulsion. I guess they should. It's theirs. The one thing that I saw also that kind of, you talked about the fast charging. The RST and the WT feature public DC fast charging capabilities up to 350 kilowatts an hour, enabling approximately 100 miles of range to be added in 10 minutes based on GM estimates. Now, for a work truck, is that really that big of a deal on range? I mean, because you're going to go drive to a site and park it, right?
Right.
I mean,
good point.
like, and the point I'm going there is like with Ford. At first, my initial thought was, well, why in the world they didn't automatically give you that 300-mile range where you have to pay the extra $10,000 for the extra range, and it's only 70 additional miles, estimated miles in range for $10,000. If I'm a fleet truck, or a construction site, I can't justify $10,000 on that vehicle.
Contractor work is typically,
right.
It depends on the work, right? If you're doing
right.
HVAC service, it's,
sure.
you're driving it a little bit more, but you're still not putting, probably not putting 400 miles a day on your vehicle.
Probably not. And, if you're going to be driving, let's say you are a construction company and you have a fleet of these vehicles, and they're all obviously all electric. What do you do when you go to a construction site? There's a couple things that you have to do. First of all, you have to have a build permit. They have to sign off on that. You get that. Then you bring in the utility poles, the power source, right? If you're a construction company, don't you have the wherewithal to kind of install your own charging station while you're on site? So why are you really worried about it, right?
Well,
I mean,
my truck in. Yeah.
Right. KOA's doing it with their poles.
Yeah.
And which, by the way, guys, if you want to watch that video on the KOA campground conversions, you can go to partscounterguru.com. Excuse me. Well, you can go there too and check out our podcast, but you can go over to youtube.com/partscountergurus and check that out. That's the KOA campground conversions, and make sure you subscribe and hit that notification button, please.
Yeah, topping it off is going to be a much more common thing. It's just a different mindset. We do it with our phones now. You get in your car, you plug in, whether it's a dead battery or not on your phone, right? You just keep it topped off.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be a lot more common with electric vehicles. You pull into a grocery store and you plug in, if it's, just for another 10%, even if you're not down to half charge. I just think that makes sense. I think you're right. Like, you don't need a 400-mile range work truck.
I don't think so. I don't think so. And I think that, again, I think in the long run, we're going to find out that I think that for the Silverado work truck version, you're going to find out that it doesn't come with that range. I think that's going to be not a standard feature. We can't configure right now, so we can't tell you for certain. As soon as we can configure, we'll revisit this. I just think that that's going to be an additional cost. I think that $39,900 that we're looking at for the WT trim now is going to probably be more in the $41,000 to $42,000 range with additional range. That's with the 400 range. That's my opinion.
So
just makes sense.
Let's spend a couple minutes, Jay, if you want, before we wrap this. GM. We've talked a little bit here and there about GM going their own way, and you kind of started down that path at the beginning of this segment. I mean, this is not. First of all, they're not trying to copy Ford here. It looks to me
not
like they've just said we're doing it the way we want to do it, and So, for example, the range thing being a big difference. Ford's doing it where they're offering less range. GM's focused a little bit more on more range on the work truck. The design of their truck is clearly different than the traditional design of the Silverado. Even the Trail Boss. There's a Trail Boss edition of this EV. Looks different than the Trail Boss gasoline version, right?
Right.
I mean, this has been a theme with GM for a while now. Would you not agree?
I would definitely agree. And if you don't believe that, take a look at the Equinox, the EV Equinox that they also revealed. It looks different than any other Equinox we've ever seen. I think that's the thing that GM has focused on, which is they're not the same bow tie vehicle of the past anymore. They're going to be different, and they're proving that with the way the Hummer looks. I don't know, though. The Hummer did capture some of that OG Hummer styling, but it's still very futuristic.
Well, and so it's paying homage to the previous generations, but other companies have done that. Toyota's done that. Ford's done it with the numerous cars, right? So
right.
But I think they've gone all the way up to the line and stopped short of saying this is not your dad's GM.
Right.
But clearly it isn't. I mean, remember when we were talking, what was it, 3 or 4 years ago now, when the mid-engine Corvette first became when we first got access to it, and just you went out and interviewed people on that, and you you went to a Corvette show and interviewed owners.
Right.
And GM's kind of going. They're moving on, man. They don't really care that they are investing in the younger generations, and you guys that are middle aged and older, they're not. You're not their focus. You may not want to hear that right now, but that's it's becoming obvious.
Right, and they may be onto something. They may reclaim that number one top position at some point because of their innovations and changes that may appeal to a younger generation.
Yeah. What are your kids driving? Just out of curiosity.
Electric vehicles.
Made by?
One of them is a Chevrolet.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a Chevy Volt.
Under 35 years old?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He's always liked to driving hybrids or EVs.
Yeah.
That's what he wants to do. He wants to, that's his mantra. I want to, pay it forward and do my part to lower emissions. So he's always been that way. He's very excited. My oldest is very excited about the new EVs that are coming. In fact, he's already reserved an F-150 Lightning. He likes it a lot. We talked about the Silverado. He doesn't care for the looks of it, though.
All right. Well, just let's do this. When he gets it, just have him go ahead and order the lift kit now, and we'll film it, and we'll get the lighting ground, the under light effects.
Ground effects, yeah.
Like the ones that you've been photographed with at SEMA, right?
Right.
We'll make a video segment out of that.
Well, in a nutshell, to kind of close this thing off, I do think that the Silverado EV, body-wise, it's a dramatic change from the current gasoline version of the Silverado for the better, I think. It looks more appealing. However, I wish that they would get away from that Avalanche look. I don't like that with the slanted back end, but I get why they probably did it, because you don't have that cab separation.
Right. And it might be a win thing too when you have that door down.
I think it could be. There's a functionality to this for them on this one. But
remember, the Avalanche had that same feature.
It did.
And you don't want like debris blowing back into the cabin.
That's right. So there's some
or
functionality
the smell of dead
there.
Body corpses. I mean, whatever, man.
Right. Yeah, you could stick a NBA player in there, no problem, man.
Wow.
So yeah. That in a nutshell. I mean, I would have to wait and see what the actual pricing and configurations are going to be. I can't wait for the configurator to come up, folks. Keith and I will stay on top of this. We will shoot a video where we configure one. Stay tuned for us to configure one on the Ford F-150. be on alert for that. I think we'll do that, right, Keith?
Sure.
At some point. Okay. Otherwise, hope this video was helpful to you. We really enjoyed talking about this stuff. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel here at youtube.com/Parts Counter Gurus. Hit that subscribe button and ring that bell for notifications. Check out our weekly podcast over at partscountergurus.com and click the podcast links, and you can get the latest podcast out there. And thanks, everybody, for watching, and we'll see you next time.
See you guys.